Well, good evening, NBA and Laker fans, and welcome into the Lakers 365 Network, your 24/7 365 comprehensive home of the NBA and your 16-time NBA champion, LA Lakers. Good evening, Laker Nation, and welcome into the night's postgame show for October 22nd, following a Lakers victory tonight over the Portland Trail Blazers, 94-86. Of course, folks, alongside Chris Amanci via Apple's FaceTime from the Annenhart Studios up in Anaheim, California. Cal McClure coming your way from Studio 171 in San Diego. Chris, good evening. How's it going, man?
Just so excited. Today was an awesome night for me. Just so happy.
Well, Chris, it got better for you other than getting hired today at Carl's Jr. Let's see. Carl's Jr. hired you. The Ducks won. And, of course, Chris, the Lakers won to top off the perfect day today. The Lakers, again, folks, tonight without Kobe Bryant because of rest, beat the Blazers tonight at the Citizens Business Bank Arena in Ontario, CA by the final score tonight of 94-86. The numbers we'll get to first before we get to the box scores tonight and a little bit of a small little recap of the game here tonight. Again, folks, we're not going to be here for too much long tonight because we got a few things to do after the show here. But the score by quarters here for the Trailblazers, 18-19 across quarters 1 through 2 and 21-20 across the third and fourth quarter for the game total of 86. And for the Lake Show tonight, 26-24 across 1 and 2. And in the second half, 16-28 for a game total of 94. Technical fouls charged in the game tonight. Both on the Blazers tonight for defensive three seconds and illegal defense, both in the first and fourth quarter. Points in the paint, 42-32 Portland. And the Lakers had 13 second chance points. They went on to win that 13-2. Biggest lead of the night. The Blazers led by 6 and the Lakers led by 15 tonight. One time the lead changed, and one time both teams were deadlocked in the contest. The game played tonight, folks, from the Citizens Business Bank Arena in Ontario, California. The men wearing the gray and black tops tonight. The officials tonight were John Golb, Kevin Cutler, and Mark Ayotte. Time of the game tonight, 2 hours and 5 minutes, and the total attendance at the CBBA 7,174. Well, Chris, obviously with Kobe not playing, maybe a bit of some minor concern perhaps about you don't know how far the team's going to go, Chris. But it looked like, though, maybe without Kobe, the Lakers played a great game. Now we'll go to the box scores now, Chris. Before we do that, Chris, it's sort of a talking point, man, that most times teams can't seem to win games without their star player, Chris. Whatever sport it is, Chris. Most times it just seems like whenever that star player, Chris, is not out there, teams have a tendency to struggle in games mightily, and they don't really have a chance in winning the games without that star player, Chris. Is it a talking point, though, or stepping stone saying that, look, the Lakers can win without Kobe Bryant being in the lineup every game for the whole season?
Yeah, it just shows that without Kobe Bryant, that the Lakers could win without Kobe.
Also, Chris, it gives us a chance to look at more talent other than just seeing Kobe play all the time. To the box scores, folks, for the Portland Trailblazers, with the loss tonight, faltered to 3-3. Darrell Wright, 6 points. Thomas Robinson, 9. Former Laker Chris Kaman, 12 points. Alan Crabb, 11. And Damian Lillard had 8. Off the bench for Portland this evening, C.J. Malcolm, 17. Will Barton, 10. Myers Leonard had 13. Victor Claver, Darius Morris, Deontay Garrett, and Joel Freeland, all no points. Not playing tonight. LaMarcus Aldridge, Nicholas Batum, Steve Blake, Robin Lopez, and Wesley Matthews, all DNPs. Coach's decision. Chris, the Blazers held out, 4 of their 5 starters tonight simply because of how late we are in the preseason, Chris. But also, man, they played Damian Lillard, though, because he has been bothered by a couple of foot injuries, Chris. So at this point, Chris, are you at all surprised now that you're seeing players that would normally be in the starting 5 not playing now because of how late we are in the preseason, like we saw with the Blazers resting 4 of their 5 starters tonight?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Late in preseason, seeing the starters just rest because it's almost the regular season.
Yeah, Chris, this is like the rest period for the veterans and also the last chance for the role players to get their last licks in to see if they can make the roster. So again, LaMarcus Aldridge, Nicholas Batum, former Lakers Steve Blake, Robin Lopez, Wesley Matthews, all DNPs. Terry Stotts' decision. for the Trailblazers. And for the Lake Show tonight, Wesley Johnson rebounding nicely after that miserable game he had last night, had 11 points. Carlos Boozer, 8. Robert Sacre, 10. Wayne Ellington, 11. And Ronnie Price had 8. Off the bench, Ed Davis, 4. Julius can't handle this. Randall, 17 points. Jeremy Lin, 13. Jordan Clarkson had 6, along with Roscoe Smith. Not playing tonight's game, Jabari Brown, DNP, coach's decision. Kobe Bryant, DND, rest. Xavier Henry, not with the team, right knee injury. Jordan Hill, DND, cervical strain. Ryan Kelly, DND, fill in the blank. Steve Nash, DND, fill in the blank. And Nick Young, DND, fill in the blank. So, Chris, the Lakers tonight. Okay, Chris, we'll go to Wesley Johnson for the right reasons tonight, man. Not about throwing him under the bus like we did last night about how bad his play was last night, Chris. It seemed like he had a great bounce-back game tonight after what occurred last night with the missed free throws. Chris, how about Robert Sacre, who is sort of, he's had a pretty rough go so far. What do you think you saw from Big Bob Sacre tonight in tonight's game, where it looked like he was, it looked like he was more comfortable again because he was, had a couple of rough stretches of the games, Chris. How do you think Big Bob Sacre looked down low tonight for the Lake Show? What do you think about Robert Sacre, Chris? He's been having, he's either hasn't played a lot or low minutes, Chris, but again, getting the start tonight because of them resting a few players. How do you think he looked tonight for the Lakers?
I think he looked great out there tonight. 20 all his effort, and I think he did pretty good tonight.
Chris, there's a few players that pretty much jump out at me like it's 3D, like we're going to be seeing in a few months at Disneyland, Chris. We're going to be going on Star Tours, Chris. How it's all in 3D is. There's a few players, man, that have really caught eyeballs of Laker fans and myself, man, which would be basically, Chris, the duo that is Jeremy Lin and Ed Davis. They have connected, I want to say, in every game so far for some type of amazing lob dunk finish, Chris. Is that going to be a spark plug for the Lakers coming off the bench as Jeremy Lin and Ed Davis? Because it looks like, Chris, that chemistry is already clicking like this early in the season.
Yeah, so far it looks pretty awesome seeing E.J. Davis, Lynn, and Randall connecting already. Great to see how the chemistry connects during the season.
Yeah, Chris, Julius Randle was the next player we're going to get to, Chris, because as we know, man, Byron Scott has been very tough on his rookie because of, it's the Lakers. You got to be tough on your players, Chris. It's that tough love mentality. Tonight, Chris, can't handle the Randall, 7 of 10 from the field, 3 of 4 from the charity stripe, Chris, 17 points, turned it on late, Chris, 24 minutes played. Tell you what, man, it looks like he's starting to get, it looks like, man, JR is getting into that slowly, Chris, getting into that comfort zone where he's getting comfortable and playing the game more relaxed. Chris, it looked like, man, like B. Scott said, he was going so fast. He was playing, well out of his element the first games he was playing in San Diego, Anaheim. Chris, it looked like he was, attacking the game. And Chris, I think he was being a bit over-aggressive. Now, Chris, it looks like he's starting to settle down, let the game come to him now, Chris. Is that something, though, that's going to still take time for him to adjust to, is letting the game come to him, not him going after the game?
Agreed. Just need to adjust and just settle, and you should be fine.
Chris, one more guy I want to get to real quick here, man, who I think has earned a role on this roster is Ronnie Price. I mean, there is no denying, Chris, how well he has played so far this season. And, Chris, I'm going to say it, man. So I know it's preseason, Chris, but Ronnie Price sort of, Chris, reminds me vaguely of our old pal Michael Cooper because of how well he plays defense. He is tenacious. He'll dive, go into the first row. Whatever he can, Chris. I mean, he had a block party early in the first quarter. Everyone was invited, Chris, to the block party, and everyone was greeted with open arms, Chris, with high playing. Chris, also like big game James really said, Chris, on the broadcast last night, is he does so many things that aren't on the stat sheet. Like the blocks, the great plays, that things that we won't see in numbers, Chris. Has Ronnie Price got the role down of being that other spark plug, or as Kobe calls him, Chris, the Energizer Bunny coming off the bench?
Yeah, I think just like a spark plug coming off the bench.
Again, folks, the Lakers tonight rebound after last night's pretty much heart-wrenching loss to the Suns in Anaheim. They beat the Blazers tonight, 94-86. So again, folks, with the win tonight, the Lakers improved to 3-4, while the Blazers with the loss faltered to 3-3. Across the rest of the NBA tonight, folks, plenty of action in the association this evening on a great Wednesday evening going into Thursday. So we're waiting for the scores to pop up here real quick from across the league here. The final scores from the night in the association: Boston over Brooklyn 186. Knicks edged the Wizards 103-100. International game, the Raptors beat the Macca team 92-85. Grizzlies edged the Cavaliers 96-92. T-Wolves over the Bucks 110-91. And then Atlanta pounds the Spurs 117-107. And of course, the Lakers get past the Blazers 94-86 in the game that should make Chris happy. The Clippers beat the Suns 108-105 from the big office in Staples Center in downtown LA. There are plenty more games on the schedule tomorrow night. We have 3 of them tomorrow, actually, I should say, in the association tomorrow night. The 3 games on the NBA menu for you folks to enjoy tomorrow night will be the Pacers at Hornets, 4 o'clock pack, Sixers at the Pistons, 4:30, and the Mavs at the Pelicans at 5 o'clock. And there are 9 games on Friday, which, Chris, leads us to our next game, which is the final game. Thank the maker. The final game of the preseason, when the Lakers take on the hated rivals, the Sacramento Kings, on Friday from the MGM Grand Garden Arena inside the wonderful and fabulous MGM Grand Hotel and Casino in the City of Lights, Las Vegas, Nevada. Chris, the Kings, as we know, man, there's a different Kings team that we despise out there in a different professional league. But, Chris, the Sacramento Kings specifically, Chris, they have not been the same since those great teams of the early 2000s, which, of course, had Mike Bibby, which had Vlade Divac, and, of course, the great rivalry that the Lakers had with the Kings in the 2002 conference finals. Chris, a couple of, some minor retooling by the Kings. Mike Malone, the head coach. Chris is looking across the roster here. Darren Collison, DeMarcus Cousins, Rudy Gay. A lot of, Ben McLemore's the one, Chris, and former Laker Ramon Sessions, Chris. A lot of good players on his team, Chris. But, Chris, what do you think, though, man, has been the problem, though, with the Kings post-02, man? I think it's just been a lot of bad luck. Players have gone elsewhere to different places, and it's just sort of been bad luck, man. And the Kings have been a team that's been good, man, for a few years, but again, just seemed like that they've sort of, did a major nosedive, Chris. And again, man, you've got, a pretty solid core of talent between Cousins and Rudy Gay. Ben McLemore is another good player, and of course, former Laker Ramon Sessions, Chris. I think, though, man, that everyone's expectations, including Kings fans, Chris, their expectations are going to be low. Because, Chris, this is sort of almost like how it was last year with Chris, and in a funny story, this is sort of like how it was with the sparks of the offseason. The ownership group left and that. And then, of course, Chris, the rumors of the Kings going to Seattle. Kevin Johnson, former great Phoenix Sun player, Chris, as the governor or the mayor of Sacramento, keeps the team up there, Chris. So some turmoil last year, like we saw with the Sparks, Chris. But above all, Chris, long term, though, what is the future like, though, for the Kings going forward, Chris? I think they're still about a couple years off, Chris, but I think, though, man, if they keep this core talent together for the next few years, man, they could be good in the coming few seasons. But again, Chris, it's still a fairly young team, Chris. What is your thoughts about the Sacramento Kings going forward for the 2014-15 season?
I think still very bright. I think they should probably get better in a few years in the draft. And I think probably in a few years they'll probably get good again, probably.
Well, Chris, like we said about our beloved LA Sparks, man, about the ownership leaving and how the team just didn't play well this year, Chris. I mean, that's sort of what the Kings was last year, was uncertainty. Are we going to be in Sacramento? Are we going to be going to Seattle? Are we going to be folding or whatever? And, someone stepped in to keep the team in Sacramento. So, again, we'll see how the Kings do. But again, folks, Kings and Lakers on Friday night, coming your way from the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. 7 p.m. tip-off, TWCSN, TWCD, and ESPN LA 710. Of course, folks, a reminder, too, that next Tuesday night, the Lakers open up a 2014-15 regular season at home against the Houston Rockets. Game time, 7:30 p.m. Catch the game on TNT and on ESPN LA 710. Well, Chris, as we get ready to wrap things up here for the night, your last thoughts about tonight's Lakers win on a great Thursday or Wednesday it's been, Chris. Again, Lakers win the night 94-86. Chris, your last thoughts about tonight and your previewing thoughts about Friday's game with the Kings in Las Vegas.
Just a great win tonight by the Lakers. Without Kobe Bryant, it just shows that the Lakers can win without Kobe Bryant. And I think on Friday night against the Kings in Las Vegas, I think they're probably going to come out all firing, ready for the season, and might be like resting players too, and just ready for the season to start.
Chris, expect a NBA D-League game on Friday. I say that, folks, because you won't see any starters playing on Friday, so it'll be the Sacramento Kings D-League affiliate versus the LA Defenders, basically, on Friday night, folks. But again, Kings and Lake Show Friday night from the Sin City in Las Vegas, Nevada. But with that, folks, on Wednesday night, October 22nd, 2014, from the Citizens Business Bank Arena in the Inland Empire of Ontario, California, the Lakers get the win tonight over the Portland Trail Blazers, 94-86. With that, folks, you'll see you great fans back here again on Friday night following the Lakers and Kings game from Las Vegas. Back here following the game. We got a quick shout out here, folks, to Eric, who runs a Lakers page on Facebook. Eric, if you're watching, man, thanks for all that you do out there on Facebook with the Lakers Nation. With that, folks, until Friday night, have a safe night. Drive home safely. Thank you, folks, for coming, and good night now. This has been the Lakers 365 Network. We are Lakers. We are LA, and we certainly are the NBA. For Chris Mancy in Anaheim, Cal McClurg in San Diego signing off. See you folks back here on a late night on Friday after the Lakers take on the Kings in Vegas. See you folks then. Till then, bye-bye.